Entity 116, Dentists. Entity number, 116. Habitat, architectural. Description. Entity 116, also known as dentists, are humanoid entities that resemble a melted or mutilated form of a human. Entity 116 instances are composed of mass amounts of human teeth, gums, and jaws taken from their victims. Before Entity 116 instances acquire any victims, they are hypothesized to have a similar appearance to a human without its skin. Instances are lacking in sapience and tend to run or walk into walls and objects frequently, as well as fall over due to the lack of movement limited by their teeth. Behind them, they leave a trail of saliva and phlegm, as well as a pungent stench similar to a decomposing human carcass. It is unknown how many instances of Entity 116 there are, although it has been speculated that they asexually reproduce inside level 64. Behaviors. Entity 116 instances are extremely hostile entities and begin to hobble towards a wanderer as soon as they are noticed. In the event of Entity 116 catching a victim, they will tackle or pin them down, and begin taking the victim's teeth and gums while attaching the said teeth and gums to themselves. Entity 116 kills its victims by strangulation, stabbing, blunt force. Dentists usually act lethargic and slow, but gain a large burst of energy and strength that acts when hunting a victim. It is unknown if this acts as a form of adrenaline, or if they purposely save their energy to be at peak level for hunting. One of two ways to identify Entity 116 is through the sounds of shuffling movement, squishing and squelching, scraping, and/or clicking. The other way to identify them is through the pungent scent of dead bodies they produce. If the scent of dead bodies suddenly becomes extremely overpowering, it is likely a dentist is near. This odor can be smelt from a considerable distance and lingers for a while, especially on clothes. Most treat this smell as a warning system for approaching Entity 116 instances. Biology. Entity 116 is composed of an amalgamation of teeth, gums, and jaws from previous victims. The gums have been noted to always be decomposing and have multiple gum diseases and mold growing on them. Along with this, instances often secrete phlegm and a slimy mucus-like substance. This mucus seeps through the teeth, giving Entity 116 an oily texture. Despite this, the entity seems to have very little trouble removing teeth from its victims. It has been observed that victims of Entity 116 who have their teeth touched by this mucus had been infected with an unknown strand of oral disease. This disease causes severe symptoms of gingivitis and tooth decay. This disease will later spread to the victim's sinuses, causing irritation and deterioration of the throat and nose. All diagnosed cases of this disease have ended in death or permanent side effects. The decaying state of the teeth and jaws in/on Entity 116 limits its range of movement significantly while chasing a wanderer, which causes it to be slow and appear injured. Entity 116 instances tend to ignore this issue and continue to attach teeth, gums, etc. to themselves. It is presumed they do this due to the fragility of their bodies, and they use the teeth and gums as armor. It was originally thought that the human gums were their actual form, but after an attack, a chunk of its armor was knocked off, displaying some sort of skin-like material. After this incident, the MEG explorers present on the scene collected samples of this material for testing, and eventually found human DNA, some of which matched certain missing individuals. There is an unofficial theory that these entities may be the result of a failed splinter experiment, but this is nothing more than whispers. New biological discovery. Discovered, March 5, 21. Entity 116 has been identified to be human. The skin of Entity 116 has been branded with a pentagram with strange symbols. This is the same logo as the Church of the Veiled. Entity 116 instances have a hole resembling some sort of mouth towards the top of its body, but it appears to not use the hole for anything other than breathing. They do have human-like orifices such as ear holes, sweat glands, and a hole for the excretion of bodily fluids. Entity 116's ear holes are extremely sensitive, and are able to pick noise from about 3,000 to 20,000 Hz, and can even hear noise from as far as 1.5 miles away, although this can vary. This sense has been heightened due to Entity 116's blindness. Discovery. Entity 116 was first discovered when MiG explorers were exploring level 33, when they saw a humanoid entity made up of teeth attack a wanderer. They quickly killed the entity via a crossbow arrow. It took about 14 arrows to do any lethal damage to the teeth, which were surprisingly durable. They later inspected her and noticed that 3 teeth were missing. The Entity 116 instance had her teeth in its hand, which was later disposed of, along with the body. This was documented when similar incidents occurred soon after with multiple other wanderers. Subscribe for more videos from the entities of the Backrooms.